Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Thank you for watching. This is the Elevate Project and I'm Ryan. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about why I am selling my Sony ZVE10 with the 16 to 50 millimeter kit lens. Alright, so I've been making a lot of videos about the Sony ZVE10 versus the Sony ZVE1. Just to be clear, the Sony ZVE1 is a great camera. It's using a full frame sensor, the same sensor which is in the Sony A7S III, as well as the Sony FX3. In a lot of those videos, I did state that the Sony ZVE1 is a great upgrade if you're vlogging already or if you have the cash. Now, I did say that this is a great option for a content creator vlogging camera, the Sony ZVE10. It comes with a kit lens, and the kit lens actually for what you're doing, if you're going to be using it for vlogging, and this is your secondary camera or just a fun camera, it is an amazing camera to start off with. For myself, I upgraded for my YouTube channel, filming videos on my iPhone, and then got the Sony ZVE10. Specifically focused for video, content creation, on a budget, because the Sony ZVE10 is a crop sensor lens, unlike the Sony ZVE1. The Sony ZVE1 with full frame, the body is going to be affordable versus, let's say, the FX3 or the A7S III. And even though that could be affordable in context to those bodies, you need to purchase full frame glass to really utilize that full frame sensor. With the Sony ZVE10, I used the kit lens for a while. I ended up getting the Sigma Trio, the 16 millimeter, which I'm using right now on my FX3. That's what's being filmed on. I also have the Sigma 30 millimeter lens and the 56 millimeter lens. And the reason why I love those focal lengths is because with a crop sensor, it gives you a little bit more reach, different focal lengths. So the 16 millimeter is giving me roughly a 1.5 times crop. So that would be roughly 21, I believe. I'll put a correction on the bottom to ensure that that is correct. And the 16-50 is a variable aperture, so it gives you an aperture of 3.5 to 5.6. And with the Sigma lenses, they're very, very low, so you're going to really take advantage of low light situations. Fast aperture also is going to give you some really great shots, video and photo alike. This does take pictures, and it's a similar sensor, if not the exact same sensor, on the A6000 series. And the question is, why am I selling this if this is so great? This gives you 4K capability, 4K 24, 30 frames per second. I've been using this specifically for YouTube and for taking video of my kids and their sports events. When I got this, played around with some photography, and the 4K has been amazing. It's 8-bit. And then, of course, I upgraded to the FX30. So when I upgraded FX30, it was nice to have a backup camera. But more and more as I do more professional work or paid work, this necessarily is not something that I'm worried about to fail on me. It's more I felt I needed a secondary camera that will also do more than what this can do. And when you're doing paid work, backups are very, very important to me. So even with this is a great camera. And if you're a beginner or you're doing YouTube, doing content creation, this does take a single SD card, which is fine. Not only that, the battery, depending on how much you're filming, does a pretty good job for me for my videos, which can range from 5 minutes, 3 minutes to as long as an hour, depending on if I'm filming a video podcast or I'm just letting it run to record. You do just need to change a setting to high for temperature so it doesn't overheat, because if you don't do that, this has overheated on me. And one of the main reasons I talked about with the Sony ZVE1 is that it may overheat. Now, I know I've heard from people in the comments saying that there are workarounds, there's tips, there's tricks, and all the things. But when it comes to paid work, I just really don't need it to fail on me in situations. And that backup camera is what I'm looking for. I do have the FX30. There are a few different options. But why I'm really selling this is I wanted to dive in more into photography and have a backup camera. So I ended up buying the Sony A74. So if you've been following me for a while, you kind of know of kind of my paid work is in real estate videography. So this is a full frame camera, and you're like, oh my goodness, Ryan, you're talking about the Sony ZVE10, the FX30, both crop sensor cameras. So I'm able to utilize my crop sensor lenses. This obviously on here is not a crop sensor lens. This is a full frame lens. But what is beautiful about the A74 for me is that I'll be able to learn and do photography at a paid level. I am learning right now to work on real estate photography as well as videography. And because this has a APS-C mode for video, I'm going to be able to utilize my crop sensor lenses. So I don't have to sell all my lenses and rebuy all my full frame. The full frame lenses that I'm purchasing are going to be used for real estate. So having a wider focal length really helps me out in this scenario. So for example, this is a Sony 14mm f1.8 GM lens. And this has been really wonderful, even just testing out for video. The A74, if you want to know more about this camera for 2023 and if it's still worth it, I will let you know, or let me know in the comments below if you want to see that video. But for a quick scenario, an answer is yes, yes, yes for 2023 for specific use cases. And for mine, which is real estate photography and real estate videography. I'm more specialized on the videography end. So the Sony ZVE10, I was thinking of keeping it as my, I guess, C cam or third camera or just the fun camera, because it is super small. It is super light. It's easy to put into a camera bag, a backpack, especially when traveling. You can take this out, take some pictures, take some video, and not have to worry not fitting in certain pockets, certain suitcases, etc. Or having to bring a special camera bag just to bring an extra camera. That being said, this hopefully will find a new home. The Sony ZV-E10 is still something I do recommend for anyone that is starting content creation, starting videography, and just wanting to learn the basics. And I will say, even though this is 8-bit, it has beautiful color from Sony. The lenses are affordable. And depending if you're, especially if you're doing like talking head, and this is on a tripod, it does great. Just keep in mind the stabilization on here doesn't have in-body stabilization. It does have active steady shot. But the beautiful thing about the Sony ZV-E10, if you are using this in a vlogging style, it will use Sony's Catalyst Browse. It will take the gyro data and you'll get gimbal-like images and footage with the Sony ZVE10. So hopefully you learned a little bit about the Sony ZVE10 if you're looking for a new camera. That being said, this has been a game changer for me. It really started my passion for videography, for cameras and gear. And yeah, it's kind of a sad day. I'm going to put this up on the marketplace starting tomorrow or the next day. And we'll be doing some more videos. So please subscribe if you want to see more about the Sony A74 and the Sony FX30 in respect to camera gear and videography. I am not a master by any means in photography. I will share my journey learning photography specifically for real estate. So if you want to see that, go ahead and like this video, hit the subscribe button. And if you found value in this video, you know what to do. Be safe, and I'll catch you in the next video.